Now, what are the consequences of breach of contract of sale? They both have, because the breach can be from any party. The seller can have a breach of the contract, or the buyer can have the breach of contract. So in both cases, we have seller's remedies as well as the buyer's remedies. Under the seller remedies, we have suit for price, suit for damages for non-acceptance of goods, suit for interest, suit for damages for repudiation of contract. And under the buyer's remedies, suit for damages for non-delivery, suit for specific performance, suit for breach of warranty, for repudiation of the contract, and for interest. So let's read them in detail. Firstly, let's start with the buyer's remedies. Buyer's remedies, the first point is suit for damages for non-delivery. Means under section 757, the section implies that if the seller wrongfully neglects or willfully refuses to deliver the goods to the buyer, then the buyer has a remedy to suit for the damages for non-delivery. Means where the goods are readily available in the market, the buyer is entitled to get damages equal to difference between the contract price and the market price on the day of breach. This is the right of the buyer to sue for this amount, that is the difference between the contract price of the goods and the market price on the day of the breach. But when the goods are not readily market available, the measure of damages shall depend upon the facts of the case. Second remedy with the buyer is suit for specific performance under section 58. This section says that where the goods are specific or a certain goods and the seller neglects to deliver the goods, then the buyer may in special case obtain the permission from the court for the specific performance only. The buyer is not interested in the damages. The buyer can claim for the specific performance, and this can be allowed by the court in special cases. There, the court may compel the seller to perform the contract specifically instead of paying the damages for breach of contract. And the court may also order specific performance where compensation in money is not possible on buyer. Means where with the compensation of money, the buyer's loss of goods is not covered and buyer is not satisfied with the payment of damages. In that case, the court may order for the specific performance on the behalf of the buyer. Third buyer's remedy is suit for breach of warranty, section 59. The breach of condition, the breach of warranty we have studied in detail, and breach of condition justify the buyer in rejecting the goods. Means if any specific condition of the contract is not fulfilled by the seller, the buyer has the right to reject the goods, though he has option to treat the breach of condition as a breach of warranty, and in that case he can claim the damages of breach of warranty. Section 59 provides the following remedies in this case to the buyer. 1. He may set up against the seller the breach of warranty or extension of the price. Means if there is a breach of warranty, then the buyer can call for extinction of the price. Second, he may sue the seller for damages for breach of warranty. Next remedy is repudiation of contract before due date. Section 60 covers it, where in any case, if the seller has repudiated the contract before the date of delivery, then the buyer may exercise this right, and the buyer may treat the contract as subsisting and keep it alive till the date of delivery. Or the buyer has a right, he may treat the contract as rescinded and sue for damages for the breach of contract. And if in this case the buyer exercises his right to sue for damages for the breach, this would incorporate the rule of anticipatory breach of the contract. Means the remedies, the rules of the anticipatory breach would be applicable here. But when a party to contract refuses to perform his part before the actual time arrives, the law gives an option, either to resign the contract and sue for damages. Second, when the contract is not been resigned but the other party wants to treat it as still operative and can wait for the performance. Fifth is suit for interest under section 61. Where there is a breach of the contract by the seller, the price is to be refunded to the buyer. Means, let's suppose the buyer has paid the price in advance and the seller has not delivered the goods, then in that case the seller has to refund the price paid to the buyer. Then the buyer can also claim for the interest on the price paid to the seller, and this interest is to be run from the date on which the payment was made. Let's suppose the contract was done on the contract was done on 1st January and the buyer has paid the price of the goods on the same day, but the contract was to be performed on 1st February, and on 1st February the seller has not performed the contract. Because the price of the goods was paid on 1st January, the interest on that price is to be paid by the seller from 1st January. So now the buyer can only recover interest, but the buyer can only recover the interest when he is entitled to recover the actual price. But where he cannot recover the actual price, he cannot recover the interest, there he can only sue for the damages.